What is up, everybody? It is JT Sports. I am back to you guys with another video. This video, I'm here with my Philadelphia Eagles 2021 7th round mock draft. Before I get into it, make sure that you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel because I upload NFL videos and NFL content daily. Also, make sure that you guys check out my other 2021 7th round mock drafts. I'm trying to do these for as many teams as possible. Players will be up above for you guys to go ahead and check it out. So when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles have a lot of holes going into the draft. Okay, they need help at corner. They need some help at linebacker. The interior of that offensive line needs some work. And most importantly, the wide receiver position needs work as well, because one big thing that the Philadelphia Eagles offense lacked last year was playmakers at the wide receiver position. Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles have a lot of quantity at the wide receiver position, but they don't have a lot of quality, which is why I feel like with their first selection this year's NFL draft, 12th overall, they select Heisman Trophy winner out of Alabama, DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith is my favorite prospect in this year's draft class, and when he gets drafted, he is going to be my favorite player, or one of my favorite players in the NFL, behind Justin Herbert. And I will be copping a DeVonta Smith jersey by the time he gets selected. When I look at DeVonta Smith, I think he is the best wide receiver in this draft class. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Jamar Chase. I understand that. When you look at DeVonta Smith is a true football player. He may not be the biggest, he may not be the fastest, but this guy understands the game of football. Football isn't all about how big you are, how well you run the 40, how well you test this and that. I get tired of people with this bullcrap narrative that DeVonta Smith isn't going to be a great player because he's a wet potato or a wet piece of sandpaper. Listen, I understand that size and weight in the NFL does matter when it comes to durability concerns, when it comes to being able to get off the line. That is something that DeVonta Smith struggles with, but that's not something that, you know, is just going to limit him when it comes to being a great player. This guy is an exceptional route runner. This guy has incredible hands, ball control. He's like a mixture of Antonio Brown and Stephon Diggs. This guy's like Marvin Harrison reincarnated. This guy, not only despite his lack of size, but this guy has great body control. He's able to win 50-50 matchups. He's able to be a red zone threat. Like, all you really need to do is to find ways to get DeVonta Smith the ball. He's a good deep threat. He's a good intermediate threat. He's a good short, you know, if you need somebody to dink and dunk to, he fits well in the West Coast offense because what he's able to do with the ball in his hands. DeVonta Smith, not only that, but he understands the game of football. He knows how to attack corners, how to release, how to control his speed, how to fluctuate his route running, to adjust to the zone coverage that the defense is throwing at him. This guy is a football nerd. I don't understand how you guys can watch DeVonta Smith and not see how well he understands the game of football. It is mind-blowing to me. If you are a wide receiver coach for college, NFL, high school, middle school, Pop Warner, whatever level you coach at, you should be showing your wide receivers film of DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith understands the wide receiver position, and that's why I believe DeVonta Smith will be the best wide receiver from this draft class when it's all said and done. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, I know you got a lot of wide receivers. You got Greg Ward, you got John Hightower, you got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, you got Jalen Reagor, who you wasted a first-round pick on last year. Listen, if you're Howie Roseman, you can't screw this up. Draft DeVonta Smith, okay? Yes, you have a lot of quantity, but you don't have a lot of quality. Improve that wide receiver position. Give Jalen Hurts, or whoever the starting QB will be for Philadelphia this year, another target in the passing game, a true number one wide receiver. In the second round, 37th overall, having selected cornerback Aaron Robinson out of UCF. He's 5'11", 186 pounds. This guy is a really good athlete, good quickness, good agility, good cover skills. Overall, I think he's going to be a really solid player at the NFL level. And for Philadelphia, you're definitely getting a corner who is, in my opinion, a day one caliber talent. He should be able to start right away for you. And I think you should be able to get some good production out of him despite being a second round selection. I like Aaron Robinson a lot. And for me, living in Florida, I've watched watched a lot of UCF games. UCF secondary had a lot of talent, but they didn't really play up to that talent the majority of the time, okay? So now look at Aaron Robinson. I think he was the best defensive back that UCF had on their roster. I definitely think Aaron Robinson is worth a second-round selection. I definitely think he can be a solid player in this league. Now, he may not be an all-star, he may not be an all-pro, but he definitely is going to be a solid, serviceable corner. In the third round, 7th overall, I have them selecting linebacker Buddy Johnson out of Texas A&M University. He's 6 foot, 229 pounds. He's a great team leader. He's an aggressive tackler, but his cover skills need some improvement. Now, when I watch Buddy Johnson, I see a linebacker that goes all out every single play. This guy doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He also, in my opinion, will be a great fit in Philadelphia because Philadelphia's linebacker position has probably been amongst one of the worst groups in the NFL. I don't know who has the worst group of linebackers, Philadelphia or Cincinnati. In my opinion, I think it's about dead even. So for Philadelphia, you need to improve that linebacker position. I don't know when they're going to try to address it. You did sign, a linebacker from Minnesota. Okay, that's one guy. You need more than just one guy at that linebacker position. So I think Buddy Johnson will be a pretty good pickup. His cover skills do need some improvement, but I don't think he's god awful in coverage. He's pretty serviceable. I think he does have a lot of room to improve there. I just don't think he's just going to be a linebacker that's just going to be known as just god awful in coverage for his whole entire career. I do think he will improve, that he can be really solid in coverage. Not great, but solid. But I don't think he's bad. I think his cover skills are pretty average. But other than that, I think this is a really good find in the third round, being able to find a serviceable starting caliber linebacker with the 7th overall pick. I think Buddy Johnson will be a really good pickup for Philly. 85th overall in the third round, still I have them selecting their second wide receiver of this draft, CORNELL Powell. Like I said earlier, Philadelphia doesn't really have a lot of talent at the wide receiver position. You just have a bunch of guys who haven't really done anything aside from Greg Ward Jr. Okay, so you look at CORNELL Powell. He's 6 foot even, 204 pounds. This guy is a smooth football player. Everything he does is smooth. Now, he's not great at anything, but he's pretty solid at pretty much every aspect of his game. He's really good when it comes to catching the ball, good route runner, good after the catch. I think he's just an overall solid wide receiver. He's not great in anything in particular. I just think he's just an overall solid wide receiver. He has a high football IQ. He has good body control. He's not really all that explosive after the catch, but he does everything okay, but not great. I think he's going to be a really good, solid wide receiver in the NFL. He reminds me a lot of T.Y. Hilton. So when I look at CORNELL Powell, you pair him up with DeVonta Smith, then you have whoever wants to step up, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Jalen Reagor, John Hightower. Doesn't matter. I think CORNELL Powell and DeVonta Smith would be the two best wide receivers on Philadelphia's roster by the end of the 2021 NFL season if Philadelphia ends up drafting both Powell and DeVonta Smith. Round 424th overall, I have them selecting cornerback out of Texas Tech, Zach McPherson. Now, you don't often hear a lot of Texas Tech players on the defense side of football getting drafted because in the Big 12, nobody really seems to know what defense is. But when you watch Texas Tech's defense, Zach McPherson really stands out for you because this guy has pretty good ball skills. He's 5'11", 191 pounds, good awareness. He understands what's going on. He's pretty good at breaking on arm breaking routes, but his footwork is shaky. He has inconsistencies when it comes to trusting his technique with his back to the ball, tends to get a little bit handsy at times. But overall, Zach McPherson has cornerback 2 potential. He could be a starter someday in this league. Give him a year to learn the game and things like that. But when you watch Texas Tech play, he definitely was a guy who definitely popped out to me. And I think Zach McPherson could be a pretty good cornerback 2 on Philadelphia. 5th round, 151st overall, we have defensive end Will Bradley King out of Kansas State University. Now, when you look at Will Bradley, okay, this guy is a really good football player. Okay, I don't understand why a lot of people aren't talking about Will Bradley King a lot more, but coming out of Baylor, he's 6'3", 252 pounds. He has a good amount of pass rush moves. He also plays with a pretty good burst. He still has a lot of improvement as a edge setter, but in terms of overall capability of what you're getting out of a guy in the 5th round, I think he has Max Crosby potential. I think he can be a 7-8 sack guy if you end up allowing him to develop the way he needs to develop. Now, he can play DN, but I think in the NFL he'll probably be more of a edge rusher instead of playing on the line. But overall, coming out of Baylor, I think he'll be a really good late draft find for Philadelphia, a team that also could use some help when it comes to pass rusher and defensive end. Don't really know where they're going to put him at. I like him at edge, but I could also see him being a defensive end in certain systems. 6th round, 225th overall, having selected an offensive guard, Cole Benoit out of Iowa. This guy is your typical Iowa throwback offensive lineman. Okay, he is big body, hard to maneuver around. Okay, he has a nasty mean streak, but the downside is that he often gets beat by finesse moves, oftentimes spin moves. He also has below average play strength and drive blocking success. So you look at Benoit, I think this guy is going to be a pretty good backup, which is something that Philadelphia needs. They need some depth. He potentially could be a starter, but I think for right now for Philadelphia, you're looking at depth at that offensive guard position. 226 overall, have them selecting defensive tackle TJ Slaton out of Florida. This guy is huge. This guy 6'4", 330 pounds, has great size to be an elite run stopper, fast first step, but he's inconsistent with his weight. He could be a guy who ends up weighing in at 350, 360 pounds from time to time, so you have to make sure that you can manage his weight, but he also doesn't really have that much finesse in his game as well. He's pretty much trying to bull rush you all game and things like that. So not really a lot of finesse, but he does have the potential to be a really good run stopper in this league. 7th round, 235th overall, having selecting safety Darrick Forrest out of Cincinnati. Now, I think Darrick Forrest probably could go off the board a little bit earlier, way earlier, but I think he's being a little bit overlooked. Okay, he's 5'11", 206 pounds. This guy is exceptional in run defense. He could end up being used as a box defender. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jamal Adams in terms of the versatility that he brings. Will he be able to be more consistent in coverage? Because he's really aggressive, okay? He will take some chances in coverage, and sometimes he'll end up blowing the coverage and end up being left in the dust. But I think Darrick Forrest would be a really good 7th round find. You're getting a guy who potentially could be a starter right away for you, depending on how good he does in camp. With their last selection of this year's draft, in this mock draft, 241 overall, having selected linebacker Derrick Barnes out of Purdue. Now, Derrick Barnes is 6 foot even, 238 pounds. He was a 3-year starter. He has played both inside linebacker and defensive end. He had a really good pro day. He's a good tackler. He is really inconsistent when it comes to diagnosing run plays, where runs are going, where runs are developing, but I think he could be a good special teams guy. I think he's the guy who could make the back end of the roster and be very serviceable and be a very good backup. So this is it for my Philadelphia Eagles 2021 7th round mock draft. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel.